Diseases of the small intestine. The symptoms of malabsorption are diverse in nature and variable in severity. Celiac disease. Celiac disease is an immunologically mediated inflammatory disorder of the small bowel occurring in genetically susceptible individuals. It can result in malabsorption and response to a gluten-free diet. The condition occurs worldwide, but is more common in Northern Europe, North America 1 to 3 to 10,000, Europe 1 to 1,000, highest in Celtic population, such as Ireland 1 to 300, much less common in no-Caucasians. Rarely occurs in Afro-Caribbean population. The first data about celiac disease in the historical literature, 1st-2nd century. In 19th century, Matthew Barley described the celiac disease relationship with the diet. Pathogenesis. Environmental agent trigger small bowel inflammation, allowing gluten peptides gliadin access to the enzyme tissue transglutaminase TTG in the lamina propria. TTG modifies gluten. It is now recognized as antigenic by CD4+ T cells. A Th1 response ensues with release of pro-inflammatory cytokines, such as interleukin-1, tumor necrotic factors alpha, and interleukin. Pathogenesis. There are two main theories of the celiac disease development: enzymatic theory, genetic or acquired peptides deficiency of the small intestine, and immune theory, formation of gluten sensitization due to the congenital or acquired loss of tolerance to gluten. Pathophysiology of celiac disease. If you see circulating and mucosal T lymphocytes sensitized to gluten. Step 1. Dietary gliadin crosses epithelium and interact with T cells with release cytokines, pro-inflammatory cytokines such as interleukin gamma, tumor necrotic factors alpha, interleukin 1, and cytokine activity result in villus atrophy, crypts hyperplasia, increased intraepithelial lymphocytes, and total reaction lamina propria inflammation and infiltration of lymphocytes. Clinical features. Celiac disease present at any age. In infancy, it occurs after weaning onto cereals and often present with classic features of diarrhea and malabsorption. It may be seen in older children with non-specific features such as delayed growth. Affected children fail to thrive and have both growth and pubertal delay. In adults, peak onset is in the 5th decade, and females are affected slightly more than males. The presentation is highly variable, depending on the severity and extent of small bowel involvement. Some patients have florid malabsorption, while others develop non-specific symptoms such as T-redness, weight loss, folate or iron deficiency anemia. Other recognized presentations include oral ulceration, dyspepsia, and bloating. There are three clinical forms: classical or severe, 20 to 25% of patients; subclinical or oligosymptomatic, slight, transient, and extraintestinal symptoms; and latent form, or asymptomatic, found during screening. Clinical features in adults: diarrhea, weight loss, anemia, folate or iron deficiency, recurrent stomatitis, abdominal pain or abdominal bloating, anorexia, lassitude, infertility, short stature, depression or schizophrenia, bone pain, clubbing, ulcerative gingivititis, hyposplenism. Investigation. Endoscopic small bowel biopsy is a gold standard. The histological features are usually characteristic. You see jejunal mucosa normal, with normal willows and crypts, and B. jejunal celiac disease, showing subtotal villous atrophy and marked inflammatory infiltrate. Antibodies investigation. Serum antigliadin, especially immunoglobulin A, and anti-endomysial antibodies are detectable in most untreated cases. Immunoglobulin A anti-endomysial antibodies are detected by immunofluorescence. There are sensitive 85–95% and specific approximately 99% for their diagnosis. Immunoglobulin G antibodies, however, must be analyzed in patients with coexisting immunoglobulin A deficiency. T2G assays may replace other blood tests in patients with immunoglobulin A deficiency. Hematology and biochemistry investigation. A full blood count may show microcytic or macrocytic anemia from iron or folate deficiency and features of hyposplenism, present target cells and spherocytes. Biochemical tests may reveal reduced concentration of calcium, magnesium, total protein, albumin, or vitamin D. Other investigation. Barium follow-through radiographs may show delayed loops of bowel, coarse or diminished folds, and sometimes flocculation of contrast. Sugar tests of intestinal permeability are abnormal, and a modest degree of fat malabsorption is usual. Aims of management. Correct existing deficiencies of iron, folate, calcium, and or vitamin D to commence a lifelong gluten-free diet. Gluten-free diet. First step, the exclusion of wheat, rye, barley. Rice, maize, and potatoes are satisfactory sources of complex carbohydrates. Regular monitoring of symptoms, weight, and nutrition is essential. Rarely, patients are refractory and require treatment with corticosteroids or immunosuppressive drugs to induce remission. Complications. Risk of malignancy, small bowel carcinoma, and squamous carcinoma of the esophagus. A few patients develop ulcerative jejunulitis, characterized by deep ulcer in the jejunum with malabsorption. Fever, pain, obstruction, or perforation may supervene. Metabolic bone disease is common in patients with long-standing, poorly controlled celiac disease. Lactose intolerance. Selective deficiency of lactase in the intestinal brush border results in prompt symptoms upon ingestion of dairy products. Temporary lactase deficiency may result from bacterial or viral enteritis. Diagnosis: undigested lactose in the intestinal lumen causes osmotic diarrhea, abdominal cramps, and flatulence. Symptom resolution on avoidance of dairy products is usually sufficient for diagnosis. Treatment: patients are advised to avoid dairy products and lactase supplements, 2 or 4 tablets or capsules with each lactose meal. Tropical sprue. Tropical sprue is defined as chronic progressive malabsorption in patient in or from the tropics, associated with abnormalities of small intestinal structure and function. There is diarrhea, abdominal distension, anorexia, fatigue, and weight loss. The onset of severe diarrhea may be sudden and accompanied by fever. Then the disorder becomes chronic. The features of megaloblastic anemia from folic acid and malabsorption and other deficiencies are common. Remissions and relapses may occur. Management: tetracycline 2.500 mg 6 hourly for 28 days is the treatment of choice. Folic acid 5 mg daily improves symptoms. Occasionally, patients must leave the tropics. Small bowel bacterial overgrowth or blind loop syndrome. The count of coliform organisms never exceeds 1000 per milliliters. In bacterial overgrowth, there may be several billion organisms per milliliter. And these are bacteria which are normally found only in the colon. The patient presents with watery diarrhea and or steatorrhea with anemia due to B12 deficiency. Causes of small bowel bacterial overgrowth. Mechanism: hypo or achlorhydria. Examples: pernicious anemia, partial gastrectomy, long-term proton pump inhibitor therapy. Mechanism: impaired intestinal motility. Examples: scleroderma, diabetic autonomic neuropathy, chronic intestinal pseudo-obstruction. Mechanism: structural abnormalities. Examples: gastric surgery, blind loop after Bilirubin operation, jejunal diverticulosis, enterocolic fistula, extensive small bowel resection, stricture formation. And mechanism: impaired immune function. Examples: hypogammaglobulinemia. Investigation: serum vitamin B12 concentration is low. Barium follow-through or small bowel enema may reveal blind loops or fistula. Endoscopic duodenal biopsies exclude mucosal disease such as celiac disease. The laboratory analysis requires anaerobic and aerobic culture techniques. Management: tetracycline 2.5 mg 6 hourly for 7 days is the treatment of choice. Although up to 50% of the patients do not respond adequately. Metronidazole 400 mg 8 hourly or ciprofloxacin 2.5 100 mg 12 hourly are alternative. Intramuscular vitamin B12 supplementation is needed in chronic cases. Irritable bowel syndrome. Irritable bowel syndrome is a gastrointestinal disorder characterized by altered bowel habits and abdominal pain in the absence of detectable structural abnormalities. No clear diagnostic markers exist for irritable bowel syndrome, so all definitions of the disease are based on the clinical presentation. Approximately 20% of the general population fulfill diagnostic criteria for irritable bowel syndrome, but only 10% of these consult their doctors because of gastrointestinal symptoms. Diagnostic criterion of irritable bowel syndrome. Recurrent abdominal pain or discomfort. Discomfort means an uncomfortable sensation not described as pain. So recurrent abdominal pain or discomfort at least 3 days per month in the last 3 months associated with 2 or more of the following. First, improvement with defecation. Second, onset associated with change in frequency of stool. Third, onset associated with a change in form, appearance of stool. Criterion fulfilled for the last 3 months with symptoms onset at least 6 months prior to diagnosis. Additional diagnostic criteria. Change in stool frequency, change in the shape of the stool, changing during defecation, imperative and the feeling of incomplete evacuating, mucus in fecus, and bloating. Classification of irritable bowel syndrome. Diarrhea predominant, IBS-D, constipation predominant, IBS-C, and alternative variant, IBS-A. Clinical peculiarities in irritable bowel syndrome D. Absent at night, in the morning, after breakfast, named morning rush syndrome. Frequency of defecation 2 to 4 times a day. Stool with small interval within a short period of time. The total weight of stool is less than 200 grams per day. Clinical peculiarities of pain in patients with irritable bowel syndrome. Localized in the iliac areas, intensified after taking food, pain relieved by defecation, intensified during menstruation, and never occur at night. Alarm features in irritable bowel syndrome. Age greater than 50 years, short history of symptoms, documented weight loss, nocturnal symptoms, male sex, family history of colon cancer, anemia, rectal bleeding, recent antibiotic use. Diagnostic findings in irritable bowel syndrome. Common blood count, biochemical analysis, coprological data, bacteriological investigation of fecus, ultrasound investigation, colonoscopy, rectoromanoscopy, computer tomography, gynecological examination, counseling of psychotherapist. Management. If irritable bowel syndrome confirmed, next step, reassurance, prophylactic reassurance. If symptoms resolve, patient healthy. If persistent symptoms, we have three variants of irritable bowel syndrome: diarrhea predominant, constipation predominant, and pain and bloating predominant. If diarrhea predominant, step one to treatment, avoid legumes and excessive dietary fiber. If these measures non-effective, step 2, anti-diarrhea drugs, loperamide, codeine phosphate, cholestyramine, and step 3, amitriptyline. Constipation predominant. Step 1, high raw veg diet. If non-effective, add lactulose. Pain and bloating predominant. Step 1, spasmolytic drugs, mebiverin, papaverin. Non-effective. Step 2, add amitriptyline. And non-effective, step 3, relaxation therapy and hypnotherapy. Most patients have a relapsing and remitting course. Exacerbation often follows stressful life events, occupational dissatisfaction, and difficulties with interpersonal relationships. Inflammatory bowel disease. Inflammatory bowel disease, chronic, idiopathic, uncontrolled inflammation of the intestinal mucosa. Crohn's disease is a transmural inflammation that can occur anywhere in the gastrointestinal tract, from the mouth to the anus. Those most commonly affect the terminal ileum and colon. Ulcerative colitis is a mucosal inflammation that typically originates in the rectum and can progress proximally in a continuous fashion to involve part or even all of the colon. The incidence of inflammatory bowel disease varies widely between populations. Crohn's disease appears to be very rare in the undeveloped world in ulcerative colitis. In the West, the incidence of ulcerative colitis is stable at 10% to 100,000, while that of Crohn's disease is increasing and is now 5-7% to 100,000. Both diseases most commonly start in young adults, with a secondary incident peak in the 7th decade. Pathogenesis. Both genetic and environmental factors are implicated. The cellular events involved in the pathogenesis of Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis involve activation of macrophages, lymphocytes, and polymorphonuclear cells with release of inflammatory mediators. Probably pathogenesis of inflammatory bowel disease. Dietary or bacterial antigens either are taken up by specialized M cells, pass between leaky epithelial cells, or enter the lamina propria through ulcerated mucosa. Macrophages secrete a series of cytokines, pro-inflammatory cytokines, tumor necrotic factors alpha, interleukin-1, interleukin-8. These cytokines attract activated and degranulated neutrophils, activate mast cells and plasma cells, therapy stimulating collagen metabolism, fibrosis, stricture formation, and cause ulceration. This is schematic pictures of pathogenesis. Inflammatory bowel disease trigger factors, as a rule, bacterial antigen, cross-form epithelium, and attracts macrophages. Macrophages produce serious pro-inflammatory cytokines, such as tumor necrotic factors alpha, interleukin-1, interleukin-8. Summary result action of this cytokine: inflammation and ulcer and stricture formation. Pathology. In both diseases, the intestinal wall is infiltrated with acute and chronic inflammatory cells. There are important differences in the distribution of disease and in histological features. Ulcerative colitis. Inflammation invariably involves the rectum, proctitis. It may spread proximally to involve the sigmoid colon, proctosigmoiditis, and in minority the whole colon is involved, or pancolitis. Crohn's disease. The site is most commonly involved in order of frequency, the terminal ileum, the right side of colon, colon alone, terminal ileum alone, ileum and jejunum. Histologically picture ulcerative colitis. Inflammation is confined to the mucosa with excess inflammatory cells in the lamina propria, loss of goblet cells, and crypt abscesses. Dysplasia characterized by happing of cells within the crypts, nuclear atypia, and increased mitotic rate may herald the development of colon cancer. Crohn's disease histologically. Histologically, chronic inflammation is seen through all the layer of the bowel wall, which is thickened as a result. Inflammation is transmural. There is ulceration with loss of surface epithelium and deep fissuring culture extending into the submucosa. Clinical features ulcerative colitis. The first attack is usually the most severe, and thereafter the disease is followed by relapses and remissions. Proctitis causes rectal bleeding and mucus discharge, sometimes accompanied by tenesmus. Some patients pass frequent small volume fluid stools, while others are constipated. Proctosigmoiditis causes bloody diarrhea with mucus. Almost all patients are constitutionally well, but a small minority who have very active limited disease develop fever, lethargy, and abdominal discomfort. Extensive colitis causes bloody diarrhea with passage of mucus. In severe cases, anorexia, malaise, weight loss, and abdominal pain occur, and the patient is toxic with fever, tachycardia, and signs of peritoneal inflammation. Disease severity assessment in ulcerative colitis. Mild and severe form. Characteristic: daily bowel frequency, mild form less than 4, severe more than 6. Blood and stool, mild form may be present, as usually present, severe form. Stool volume, mild form less to 200 gram per day, severe form more than 400 gram per day. Pulse less than 90, severe form more than 90. Temperature may be normal, severe form as a rule subfebrile temperature. Sigmoidoscopy. Normal may be normal and severe form blood in lumen. Abdominal radiographs, mild form may be normal and severe form may reveal delayed bowel and mucosal islands. Hemoglobin level, mild form hemoglobin level, erythrocyte sedimentation rate and serum albumin may be normal. But severe form, decrease hemoglobin level, increase erythrocyte sedimentation rate and decrease albumin. Clinical features of Crohn's disease. Presentation dependent on the major site of disease involvement. Ileal disease causes abdominal pain. Pain is often associated with diarrhea, which is watery and does not contain blood or mucus. Almost all patients lose weight. This is usually because they avoid food, since eating provokes pain. Crohn's colitis. Presence in an identical manner to ulcerative colitis. Physical examination often reveals evidence of weight loss, anemia, viscositis, and angular stomatitis. There is abdominal tenderness, most marked over the inflamed area, and abdominal mass due to matted loops, as thickening bowel, or an intra-abdominal abscess may occur. Perianal skin tags, fissures, or fistula are found in at least 50% of patients. Intestinal complications. Inflammation of the colon. Then the transverse colon is delayed to more than 6 centimeters. There is a high risk of colonic perforation and subsequent generalized peritonitis. Perforation of the small intestine or colon. This can occur without the development of toxic megacolon. Acute hemorrhage. Hemorrhage due to erosion of a major artery is a rare complication of both conditions. Fistula and perianal disease. Fistulous connections between loops of affected bowel, or between bowel and bladder or vagina, are specific complications of Crohn's disease and do not occur in ulcerative colitis. Fistulations may also cause perianal or ischiorectal abscesses. Cancer. Patients with extensive active colitis of more than 8 years duration are at increased risk of colon cancer. This you may see perianal complication, perianal disease with fistula formation. Stricture and fistula formation. Extraintestinal complication. Inflammatory bowel disease can be considered as a systemic illness, and in some patients, extraintestinal complication dominates the clinical picture. It may appear in other parts of organism than present connective tissues. For example, uritis, conjunctivitis, ulcer, mouth ulcer, fatty liver, metabolic bone disease, and other anywhere than present connective tissues. Differential diagnosis. The major diagnostic difficulty is to distinguish the first attack of acute colitis from infection. Diarrhea lasting longer than 10 days, a history of foreign travel, antibiotics exposure, or homosexual contact suggests infection. Stool microscopy, culture and examination for Clostridium, sigmoidoscopy and rectal biopsy, blood culture and serologic test for infection are useful. Conditions which can mimic inflammatory bowel disease. Infective, maybe infective and non-infective. Infective, bacterial, Salmonella, Shigella, Campylobacter jejuni, Escherichia coli, gonococcal proctitis, pseudomembranous colitis. Viral, herpes, chlamydia, cytomegalovirus, protozoa, amoebiasis, non-infective. Vascular, ischemic colitis, radiation proctitis. Idiopathic, collagenous colitis, Behçet disease. Drugs, non-steroid anti-inflammatory drugs. Neoplastic, colonic carcinoma, other, diverticulosis. Differential diagnosis between ulcerative colitis and Crohn's disease. As you can see, symptoms such as gross blood in stool and mucus characteristic ulcerative colitis. Other symptoms such as systemic symptoms, pain, abdominal mass, significant perianal disease, fistulas, small intestinal obstruction, colonic obstruction, response to antibiotics, recurrence after surgery, more frequent from Crohn's disease, and ulcerative colitis patients, as a rule, answer positive. Different endoscopic and radiographic features. Endoscopic, more characteristic from ulcerative colitis is continuous disease. Other characteristic, rectal sparring, gallstoning, and granuloma or biopsy, more frequent in Crohn's disease. Radiographics, such characteristics: small bowel, significant abnormal terminal ileum, segmental colitis, asymmetrical colitis, and structure more frequently in Crohn's disease. Blood test investigation. Anemia results from bleeding or malabsorption of iron, folic acid, or vitamin B12. Serum albumin concentration falls as a consequence of protein loss in enteropathy. The erythrocyte sedimentation rate is raised in exacerbations or because of abscesses. Elevation of C-reactive protein concentration is helpful in monitoring Crohn's disease. Bacteriology investigation. Stool culture are performed to exclude superimposed enteric infection in patients who present with exacerbations of inflammatory bowel disease. Blood culture are also admissible in patients with known colitis or Crohn's disease who develop fever. Sigmoidoscopy. Sigmoidoscopy with biopsies is a simple and essential investigation in all patients who present with diarrhea, rectal sparring, perianal disease, and discrete ulcer such as Crohn's disease rather than ulcerative colitis. Sigmoidoscopic view of moderate activity ulcerative colitis. Mucosa is erythematous and friable with contact bleeding. Submucosal blood vessels are no longer visible. Colonoscopy investigation. Colonoscopy may show active inflammation with pseudopolyps or a complicated carcinoma. Biopsies are taken to define disease extent. In ulcerative colitis, the macroscopic and histological abnormalities are confluent and more severe in the distal colon and rectum. Stricture formation does not occur in the absence of carcinoma. In Crohn's colitis, the endoscopic abnormalities are patchy, with normal mucosa between the areas of abnormality. Aphthoid or deep ulcer and strictures are common. Barium study investigation. In long-standing ulcerative colitis, barium enema show shortness colon, loss of gallstra, pseudopolyps, and fine ulceration. Ileocolonic Crohn's disease. Barium enema showing normal rectum and sigmoid colon, typical aphthous ulceration in the descending colon, ulceration and lack of gallstra in the transverse colon. The ascending colon and cecum are normal, and there is typical Crohn's disease affecting the terminal ileum with coarse ulceration, rigidity, and lack of mucosal folds. This is a pyramid of treatment irritable bowel disease. As can you see, base of pyramid consists anti-inflammatory drugs such as 5-aminosalicylic acid and antibiotics. Next step, corticosteroids and cytostatics, and only minority part of patients needed surgical treatment. 5-aminosalicylic acid. Mechanism of action: inhibition of cyclooxygenase, lipoxygenase, B cells, and several inflammatory cytokines. Drugs: Salofalc. Minimum dose for ulcerative colitis 4 gram daily. Minimum dose for Crohn's disease 4.5 gram daily. The dose can be increased to 10 gram daily, and maintenance dose after remission consists 2 gram daily. This is various form of Salofalc table, suppositorium, foam, and suspension. Antibiotics. Most commonly metronidazole and ciprofloxacin appear to have some efficacy in the treatment of Crohn's disease, particularly with colonic involvement, and are also effective in those with perianal fistula and abscesses. Intra-abdominal abscesses should also be treated with antibiotics. Rifaximin is a broad-spectrum antibiotic that has activity against gram-negative and positive bacteria. Glucocorticosteroids. Prednisolone 1 mg per kilogram daily with a greatly decreased dose 5 mg per week. Budesonide is a non-systemic steroid capsule 3 mg form 9 mg per day 3 times daily with a gradually decreased dose during 8 weeks. This is budesonide, budenofalk capsules and foam. Immunomodulators. 6-mercaptopurine 1.5 mg per kilogram daily, azathioprine 2 mg per kilogram daily, methotrexate 25 mg per week 12 months, cyclosporine A 4 mg per kilogram daily, intravenous 14 days, then 2 mg per kilogram daily. Anti-tumor necrotic factors alpha antibody. There are now 3 FDA-approved anti-tumor necrotic factors alpha antibodies: infliximab, adalimumab, and certolizumab for inflammatory and fistulizing Crohn's disease, all of which are effective in both the induction and maintenance of remission. Presently, only infliximab is approved for the indication and maintenance treatment of ulcerative colitis. Infliximab intravenous 5 mg per kilogram, then in 2 and 6 weeks, then every 8 weeks. Natalizumab. Natalizumab is a humanized immunoglobulin G4 monoclonal antibody against OC4 integrins. Natalizumab was approved in 2008 for the treatment of anti-TNF refractory Crohn's disease and is also used in the treatment of multiple sclerosis. It appears to be most effective in those patients with a high C-reactive protein. Supportive agents. Antidiarrheal agents, including up to 8 tablets a day of loperamide. If patients have ileal involvement or have had ileal resection, bile acid-induced diarrhea can occur, and bile sequestrants can be utilized. Drugs is cholestyramine. Bulk forming agents, antidepressants, pain management, antispasmolytics.